Hello, hello, welcome. Sorry, this is total impromptu live here on YouTube. I normally go live on my Facebook, so it's all different. I'm gonna set this up. Sorry if I'm making you seasick here. I went to do my usual live on YouTube or on Facebook, and Facebook wouldn't let me go. I don't know. I thought it was my Wi-Fi. I do have a new phone, but then I tried to do it on my iPad and that wasn't working. And now I'm looking to find this video, which seems to be streaming, but now I need to find it so that I can see comments. I've never done a YouTube live before, you guys. So I apologize. Okay. We're here. Okay. Close. Let's mute that. Okay, I have it on my iPad. All right. Hopefully, welcome. Let me start over again here. This is my weekly live stamping A to Z. Like I said, normally I'm on Facebook, but it was not working for me. So I've been wanting to try YouTube, and this is forcing me to try this out. So fingers crossed that it's actually working. And of course, I didn't even post that I would be on here, so I'm guessing nobody's gonna find this. Hopefully, if you watch on Facebook, that you can come find me on YouTube. Yeah, I apologize. I will try and post it to my Facebook page once I'm done. But if you're watching, please say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm more than happy if you want to share. It's always the greatest gift to share. Shows that you like what I'm doing. So anyways, stamping A to Z, let me start this, is I started doing a weekly live a few years ago now. It started during COVID. It was a way to kind of bring happy and get people to pull out their craft supplies and get crafting. Because I don't know about you, but for me, it is a great, relaxing, therapeutic thing to do. And so I just hope to inspire other people to pull out their stuff and actually use it. I have lots of friends who collect the stuff but don't necessarily use the stuff. So I feel like there's a huge lag in the video, but we'll see. Squirrel. Anyways, so today is episode 189. So that's how long I've been doing it for. Stamping A to Z started from A to Z based on all of our Stampin' Up! Products and how to use them and what they are. And it's just kind of morphed into just whatever's new techniques, I love to find new ways to use products. And a good friend of mine who's an amazing crafter, she does mostly jelly plate stuff, and she does really cool artsy stuff, like way beyond my scope. But anyway, she sent me a video from someone else who was using their stencils in a different way. And so that inspired me to pull out my stencils and try it out with our Stampin' Up! Stuff. So that's what I will be doing today. Some cool things with some stencils that I haven't done before. Okay, so before we get started, I have last chance products. Don't forget to take a look at them. Some of the really good deals are gone. I am using some of our last chance products today. I will mention them. Unfortunately, one of my cards, a lot of it I realized is gone, and I'm pretty sure it's while supplies last, but our inventory status has some weird, it says like that it's to be determined when it's going to be back, and then sometimes it disappears. So I'm not sure what's happening there, whether things are still coming back or if they're gone. But there are some good deals to be had, so make sure you go take a look at those. You can go onto my, why do I have such, oh, that's why, sorry. I'm like, why do I have such bad shadows happening? Now I realize why. I had my little work light on that I don't normally have on. Yeah, so go check those out at lindagibbs.stampinup.net. The other thing that's happening right now is there's a special designer series paper release. These are 3 sets of designer series paper that we've previously had, but in different colors. So these are a new color scheme for each of them, but it's based on not old, but previous designer series paper packs. And right now, so today's the last day, we had 3 days of free shipping. So any order over $100 gets free shipping, which is huge because shipping is 11% after $100 or $11, I believe, before $100. So that's big if you want to put in an order. Free shipping really gets you a good deal. So free shipping, designer series paper, last chance items. I think that's all of it. All right, let's get started. I'm going to try and start with the least messy. I don't know I'm not sure what classifies as the least messy, but we will try this one and see. So I had mentioned this last week. I did go through a bunch of the last chance items last week or the week before. I can't remember now. My goodness, weeks are just going by. The Abundant Beauty decorative masks, they are superly discounted. They are down to $4.35 instead of $14. And there is this cute snowflake stencil. I did notice they are in the low inventory section of our inventory when I checked just before to come on. So if you're looking for them, get on them quick and get free shipping also, to avoid disappointment. So I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock, and I'm simply going to ink up this stencil as though it's a stamp. You could use a brayer. I'm gonna grab a baby wipe before I do anything else, which I forgot to grab. My hands get super messy, and that's just part of crafting, and I'm okay. They were like all reddish yesterday. So right now, as you can see, there's some ink on there, and I'm going to, before I even spritz it, to save myself some, actually, I'm gonna have to clean it after I spritz it. What am I doing? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna spritz it with water. You could use alcohol, but the thing with alcohol I find is it dries so quickly you don't get that same spread. So since I cleaned underneath, it should be okay just to put it on top. And I did cut myself a piece of scrap paper here. So I'm gonna just lay this down like so. And then try not to move it. Try and soak up all the excess water and ink. Okay, and then I'll just pull this up, and you've got a really cool water. It looks kind of washed, watercolored, with the nice snowflakes. So I did tone on tone. I did use a piece of Pool Party cardstock. I tried it on white and it just wasn't giving me the look I was looking for. So anyways, then I'm gonna dry this off a little bit with my heat tool. Pardon the noise, and my cord is caught. So it gives you this like cool washed, it looks like designer series paper or something. But you know, it's just one more way of using your stencil. Like normally you'd use a stencil with some embossing paste or just blender brushes, whatever. And this is just yet another way you can use your stencil. So I have to run it through the die machine, so I just want to make sure it's not, I did use quite a bit of water. If you want more movement, you need more water. But you also have to remember that this isn't watercolor paper, so it's less forgiving. So then I have cut out, I cut out a large portion piece of gold, it was a brushed gold foil, and I can't, so it was this one, so I think it's this one. Is it this one? Or is it this? No, it's this one. Okay, so then I need to cut this one. What am I doing here? In the real world, I cut this out second. So I don't know what I was thinking by doing this first. I'm gonna kind of get an idea to make it smaller. Okay, right about there. Now I want, well, no, that's okay. I'm going to tape it down just so it doesn't move on me. And then I will get the Big Boss. And we will, so trick with the die cutting, whenever your plate starts to have that curve, you want to flip it over, and that, it's kind of right on the teetering edge. That keeps your plate flat. You know, a lot of people complain that their plates warp. I use my plates forever and ever and just keep flip-flopping them until they don't cut well anymore, because there's so many grooves, but they just stay flat for a very long time. So that's that. I mean, I could have left it whole. It's so pretty, but this is kind of, oh, so perfect. I couldn't have done better. All right. So these are, I pulled out the deckled circles because they are on the last chance list. I couldn't find them this morning, so I don't know if they're all gone or out of stock or what. So hopefully if those were on your list that you didn't miss out on those, because they are a great, they're just a great everyday die, like circles, squares, rectangles, all the shapes. I have a whole box of that I have labeled as shapes, and I love to be able to use them with anything. That's one thing I do. I do pull out retired things once in a while, which might be frustrating to some, but you know, you can always make something. It's more the technique. You could use it with anything. You don't have to have exactly what I'm using. This is another last chance item, is these joyful images ephemera packs. This is the one thing I'm not exactly sure how to know when things are gone, but I fear that it might be. So then I've got, ooh, what's this? Piece of food or something. I have a piece of thick basic white that I have pre-scored, because I find with the thick one it doesn't fold as nicely and can get a funny look. And then what I did is I just put it on this side on my original. I'm wondering if I do it this way. What do you think? Here, I'll pull out this is my sample card. Should I do it this way? Or should I do it this way? I hope. Oh, okay. Linda, I see you're here. Yay, you found me. Good. I was just about to say, okay, I see people are watching, but I don't see any comments, but I do see your comment. That's great. I'm glad you found me. I don't know what was wrong with Facebook, but wasn't working. So it's funny because I've tried to go on to YouTube before, and it's like you have to set it up and la la la, and you can't do a live, especially on your phone. I think it's easier off your computer or whatever. I think I'm gonna do one this way, just cause. Anyways, I could never go on live because it would say that I needed to get permission and blah blah blah, and I know I had applied, so maybe it's all gone through because I hit the live on my phone and it didn't say I couldn't, unlike Facebook. It kept telling me, it didn't say that I couldn't, it just said that there was a problem, and then I thought maybe it was my Wi-Fi because my iPad wasn't, but I feel like Facebook, maybe it's just my Facebook, but it definitely was having an issue because, so I'm just putting this all flat. It wouldn't even let me search stuff as though I wasn't online, but that was on my iPad. Like, I have a new phone, so I thought, well, maybe there's something with the new phone that I hadn't set up, and I went into settings like camera, all that stuff, and I switched my phone straight over, so the settings should all be the same. So I don't know, but I'm glad you found me. And maybe I'll put one at the bottom here. Just because the snowman has a bit of dimension, I'm putting the glue dots on because then it kind of gives it that same, it's equally the same height. And then I'll just glue it where the snowman is. And then I like to put it where it looks like it's been cut off also. And then there, oh, I did it again. I told myself I was gonna use some nice cord thread and do like a little gold thing behind my happy, and I forgot again. I'm thrown off by all these changes. Anyways, yeah, not a huge difference in the look. I just think it more naturally feels like it should open, like here I almost feel like it might open this way. So anyways, they both look good. That is the first card. That was stamping with the snowflake stencil. All right, on to messier things. I'll put that there so I don't lose it. And then I'm gonna put this away. As you know, my new motto is to move one card before taking out another. Otherwise, I run out of space and I lose everything. So, Okay, so for this one, I'm not using a traditional stencil. I made a stencil out of this beautiful, this is the Moody Magnolia Mood dies, and I love this die. This is one of the last chance items. Both the die and the stamp set are on sale. The dies are $28.20 instead of $47, and the stamp set is $18.50 instead of $37. Now, my one complaint with this set is that it had this beautiful flower, but it didn't have the stamp. Like, we always have the stamps that match, and then it cuts out the outline. But this one did not have a matching stamp. So when I was stamping with stencils, I was like, oh, I'll make a stamp or a stencil out of this die and see if I can stamp it. So you've seen me, if you've been watching, you've seen me make stencils before using Yupo paper. It's it doesn't hold water, so you can just wipe it off and reuse it over and over. It stains, but that's okay. It doesn't, you know, as long as you've cleaned it off, like you can even rinse it under water and then let it dry off kind of thing. It won't bleed onto whatever you're doing, so it's fine to do that. So what I did though was I used I wanted to put two colors down on here, obviously, with having leaves and a flower. So I'm using my smaller blender brushes, and then I used Petal Pink and Soft Seafoam. I was thinking of switching it up to a red for Christmas, but magnolias have that soft look, I find. So not their leaves necessarily. I'm not very realistic on the leaves, but anywho, this is what I'm going with. I had already cut the stuff. So I'm just going to put the color on directly with my brush. And I'm not worried about perfection. I'm not worried about, you know, if some of it's on the leaves, if some of the leaves. My biggest worry is transferring pink into my green ink pad or green into my pink. So I think this part is a flower, so we're gonna go with that. And if you're worried about transferring the ink into your ink pads, like especially now that I have the pink on there, what you can do is maybe wipe here and wipe off the pink out of the way, and then you can put some green if you have a surface, it's silicone pad or a glass surface or whatever, and then you can pick up the color off of the glass, so then you're not transferring it to the ink pad. So that is an option as well, especially if you've got like a really light color and a darker color. That's part of the reason why I didn't do red, especially on camera, because I do have red coming up next and it's going to be messy, so that's why I'm leaving it for last. All right, so I've got all my colors down. I'm going to wipe this off, and once again I'm going to spritz this with some water. And then I'm just, I tried with watercolor paper and I didn't like the look as much, and I will show you why as soon as I'm done here. I'm just gonna put this down. Let the ink soak into the paper and water. And then try and, well, it stuck to it, so we know that it colored it. So there we have our stamped stenciled image, which is pretty cool in itself, but we're going to take this one step further. So I'm just going to wipe this off here. Make sure it's clean. And then I'm gonna dry this up. So unfortunately, I don't think the camera will catch it, but it actually gets textured because of the water. Like it pulls up. It's weird because it didn't do it in the color on color one. And maybe it's just when you have more shapes. I'm not sure because the next one has a ton of texture if you could see it. And this one does. Probably if I didn't actually know, if you run your finger over it, it's quite textured. It's crazy. So even though it's just flat on paper, it almost looks like, and I have no idea what the sound is like with the heat tool on with YouTube. I know, and with the new phone. So anyways, obviously I stamped it so it's reversed. So now if I want to use it as a mask, I have to use it upside down, which is fine. And I'm just gonna hold it here. And what I did, you could spritz it with some, which I was contemplating, but I thought that might be too messy on video and I didn't have a box and yada, yada, yada. So I've been playing, I only have one, but I want more, with these interference inks. And so it goes in, if you're on dark paper, it looks gold, and if you're on light paper, it has more black, but it's still metallic, so it's still like a goldy. You kind of have to move it around. So anyways, what I did, if you would just have any metallic or any color really, you could probably use a brayer. This gives it some lines and some and then I'm going to carefully spin, oh, I'll have to reline it up. Spin it around and then line it up again. And try and find, I don't have a refill for this. And there's one, yeah, there's one part of this ink pad that's way more juicy than the rest. Let me just try and get this part again with the juicier part. No, I think it's this part here. Let's see. Yeah. There. Okay. So then, messy fingers, messy everything. So that's where baby wipes to the rescue come. Now you totally don't have to do this step. You could do many other things. But I still have, so it actually went, and it looks like it's in between the leaves there. But you still have your nice stamped floral, but then you kind of have that goldish background. And as you can see, so even though this is like pigment ink dye, it still wipes off. I didn't think the back of Yupo paper was as water resistant, like it feels different on the two sides, but it seems to be okay. I've used both sides several times now and seems to be okay. So, you know, I might run it underwater to try and clean it up fully, but that is, that's the gist of that one. I won't put it together and bore you. I will just show you the finished. So I stamped a sentiment and just fussy cut it just to let you know that you are loved. And then I matted it with a black background and then the petal pink to match the flower. What did I use for my mask? I die cut a piece of Yupo paper with the die from the Magnolia Mood dies. This die. I cut it out and then I blender brushed and stamped it. So hopefully that answers your question, but this was my mask. And then I just used this again the other way to mask it, to color it, and I just held it with my hand. You could tape it down and do half and then half, but I just held it. So that is card number 2. Then, oops, set this aside, and we will do the third one, the messiest of them all. I am using warning, retired stencils or masks. So Stampin' Up! For some reason calls them masks. I think because they always use them with paste and stuff, but they're stencils. I don't know what the difference is. Is there a difference? And then I find, I don't know if the new ones are like this, but the old ones that were this color, they seem to have like a shiny side and a less shiny side. So I thought I would put the ink on the less shiny side because I thought maybe it would hold the ink better. I don't know. It works either way. So, I mean, I didn't worry about it with the other ones and it seemed to work. So, you know, whatever. So I'm starting, I have Real Red, Shaded Spruce, and Premium Pink. I love adding pink to Christmas stuff. I don't know why. It's just kind of become my thing. Maybe being in a house full of boys makes me want to add pink. I don't know, my boys like pink though, so, you know, maybe that's why. So once again, you could use a blender, well, I don't know what blender brush, but you could use a brayer. I'm just being lazy, doing it the quick and easy. And then you want to make sure that you wipe off the ink that's below, or put a piece of paper down to stop that ink from going on to whatever you're stamping on. I could go and put it onto my piece of paper, but I feel like just leaving it down here once you've sprayed it seems to be the easiest. And like I said, this is just water. And I'm just gonna plop this down and grab a piece of scrap paper to help push it. Again, if you had your, my brayer's over in the drawer, I think. You know, if you want help to get an even pressure, you could totally use a brayer. And it's really cool because my scrap paper that I used it for the same project over and over again for the 3 cards, and it looks really cool, and I was thinking that I need to use it as a background because it just, with the colors and what kind of got spread onto it, because it was wet, it's sticking. All right, so again, I'll probably just rinse this off when it's all said and done. But we're gonna clean that off. I'm gonna set this stencil aside. So now I have my first part of the stencil. I wanna make sure it's dry. And these stencils, some of them were designed to layer, some of them weren't. I don't know if these ones were or not, but I thought it would look cool with an extra layer. So this is the one that gets, maybe because of the extra water between this and the second stencil, but it's like, oh, if you could feel it, it's so cool. It's not like an embossed texture. It's just kind of the paper that bubbles a little bit and gives it a, so you just want it dry enough that, you know, your next color isn't gonna just like bleed everywhere because of the because it's already wet. So this is where I'm putting red. So red just, I don't know. It's probably the same reason that red dye in food is bad for you. Red dye just is nasty, no matter where you put it. Okay, it's just messy. That's all. Like, and it just stays. Like, it doesn't. Like, see, I wipe my finger right away, and my finger is red, but it goes away by the next day. So as long as you don't have a event that day that you're playing, should be okay. Okay, this one I want to put down on top of because I want to line it up with the other grid. So I think it'd be easier. This is gonna be messy. Like, this is a two wipe. See, it just moves the red around. Pardon the glass squeaks. I'll use this one. There, that's mostly gone. Do a third run here. Okay, so then I'm gonna put my paper here and here, and then line this up like this, and then I'll take another piece of paper. Did I do that the right way? It's hard to tell. I think I flipped it over. It's hard to tell. Okay, and then I'll pull this up. Isn't that cool? Okay, I'm just gonna put this over here. I'll clean it later. Put that there. Clean that later. I'm just gonna wipe my hands here. So make sure none of the red gets onto the rest of the. Look at that. Oh my. Okay. If you don't want messy fingers, then what is the paper? This paper? I'm just using regular basic white paper. I tried it on watercolor paper and I found it bled. Maybe because I wet the paper, but it soaks the ink so much. It wasn't giving me the effect that I was hoping for. So I went back. It means you have to dry your paper a little bit more and be careful, but you know, yeah, it's gonna crinkle a little bit and you might have to glue it down a little bit more, but what I used for the mask, Yupo paper is the paper that I used. Okay, so, and it just has this awesome texture. So I love the pink and the red. Next, I wanted to put a Christmas tree, so I pulled out I hadn't used the dies too much. I've used the stamp set, so I really like these trees, the Peaceful Evergreen trees. These are last chance items. They are retiring. This stamp, no, not the stamp. The dies for this one are on sale. They are $49.50 instead of $55. And then this is a two set bundle suite, and so I'm going to use this for the words, and it's the Peaceful Season stamp set that's $29.70 instead of $33. But I don't think these dies are on sale, and I don't think this stamp set is on sale unless you buy the bundle, in which case you get 10% off. I don't know which way is cheaper. I didn't do the math. And then the rectangle deckled dies are retiring as well. And they are $24.60 instead of $41. They've been around for a long time, so hopefully most of you have them. They're one of my favorite things to use. But yeah, I use that as well. So first I'm going to do the tree. And to start with the tree, I used, did I put it away? Yes, I did. Okay, I used my whiskey here. I have discovered, this is totally off topic, the grip mats that you can get, which are photopolymer material, which is basically stamp material. If you do, if you want to do reverse like mirrored stamping, this is the best material instead of the silicone sheet, because you're essentially stamping onto another stamp and it holds the ink super well and it stamps super clear. I did it, I can't remember which card I was making where I wanted the reverse. Oh, it was the cups from last week, the teacups that I hot chocolate. And just a little, I've always done it on a silicone sheet. Oh my, the video just gets so fuzzy. Sorry. You know, all these new things that I'm gonna have to play with, and I don't know if it's my, like, so yeah, I only have 2 bars. I don't know what's going on. I've got some fiddling to do. I've got to love technology. All right, so I'm not actually stamping the tree. I'm going to use Versamark and heat and stick powder, because I'm going to use the gilded leafing, which is beautiful, but don't breathe, don't like, it's super messy. You need to have a container to have it in, but they are retiring it, and it is a super deal. It is like $4. Yeah, sorry, I have it written down. Well, maybe I don't have it written down. It was like $4 instead of, you know, 10 or 12. So I did buy another jar because I like it. I like the look of it. I do not like the mess of it. But I had gold all over my pants yesterday, and my husband was bugging me that I was being fancy. It's like, yeah. For some reason, it doesn't look like I'm getting that last part. Okay. So I'm going to take this out of here, and we're going to bring over our messiness. So here's the heat and stick powder, and we just pour the powder on, and I use the anti-static powder before. Oh, look, I've got gold inside of my powder now. I must not have had it closed when I did the leafing. So, mental note, make sure everything is closed up, put away before you take out the gilded leafing, because it just, like, it's so light and delicate, it just flies everywhere. Okay, so let's heat this up. So we'll melt that, and then we'll put our leafing on. And then I knew it was going to be too much gold for what I was trying to do. Oh, and I did it again. I told myself, oh, I should have done some shaded spruce on shaded spruce blending and then did the gold, so it had the darker, and then put a lighter on top. But I ended up reversing it, and I'm going to reverse it again, because once again I forgot. Okay, so there's my melted heat stick powder, and I find you have to be fairly fast, so I'm going to try not to breathe and gently take the lid off. And I'm going to just, because it's all in little pieces now, I can't even pick up the big pieces. And then we'll just, oh, so delicately. Brush the excess off. And then you've got, oh, I guess I could have used, well, my fear with using the gold embossing powder is then, like, if I find this too much gold, I would have found the embossing powder way too much. If they had a second stamp set that had a bit less, then maybe, but anyways, that is my gilded tree. Then I'm going to cut it using the die. There's an outline for it, but there's also kind of a second die. So I decided I was going to put this on top to tone down the gold, but I didn't want like the shaded spruce green, and so I was looking at other greens and I was like, what am I doing? All I have to do is blender brush green on green to make it a bit darker. And then, so when I cut it out, I'll have the darker version of green, oops, for the inside part. And I'll cut them both out at the same time. Like so. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always an answer. Even if you forget, there's a way. So I'm going to line up my tree here. And then I'm going to line up this tree. I'll cut them. Oh, I've got my lid on the wrong side. And then, ooh, sticking real good. All right. And I see we have a service guy coming and he came early. I told him not before 1. I gotta move some cars, so let's hurry this along. We'd have to not put it together. I'll just show you what I did. So, you know, you've got the tree put together like that. I cut out a gold star, cut out the Christmas from the other. So I cut out a duckled rectangle with this piece, and then I did my Christmas is in the air using the stamp set and the dies. And that was my third card. The big part was the stencils. So here are my 3 cards of the week. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully it inspires you to pull out your stuff and try some new stuff with your stencils. All right. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye. I gotta figure out how to turn this off.